Nobody is talking about Donovan Mitchell as an MVP candidate. Names like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having a terrific season for the OKC Thunder in the West. LeBron James at age 40 plus averaging what he did as an MVP 10 years ago. Jason Tatum, the next face of the league, unfortunate or not, having a good season as well. Donovan Mitchell competing with these names to even be in the mix. Is he in that mix? We're going to talk about that, why he should be, why he shouldn't be, is it talked about enough, so on and so forth. Hey everybody, Billy BB back with you on Cavs Digest. Excited to talk Cavaliers basketball as they come down to the wire. We've talked Coach of the Year. We've talked about some other things with them as a team and as a group, but Donovan Mitchell, who I've loved and I've multiple times on this channel said give him his due, talked about what needs to be respected about him, what I personally love about him, needs to be in the MVP talks, has kind of gained some ground in that, and it was talked about recently by his head coach and writers. First off, though, be sure to subscribe before we jump into everything. It's coming down to it with the Cavs. More and more important things are happening, so if you're not subscribed to Cavs Digest, now is the time. This may be one of those videos where you think, man, it's just not happening, or you're a Tatum person or Shai person. I don't know how it's going to pan out, but we will see. And this is a topic I think a lot of Cavs fans are going to be very passionate about. So a lot happening with the channel. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to comment. So Donovan Mitchell has had a tremendous season for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Things have worked perfectly for him. Things have worked perfectly for the team. And it started when he signed the extension. That made him happy, Koby Altman happy, the team happy. I believe that was the tone setter for the season. Mitchell is back, not just for this year at full strength, but for the next few years, he has bought into Cleveland. That was a very, very big deal for the Cavaliers to have Donovan Mitchell sign on like that, get going like that, and get ready to make the difference. He has struggled compared to years past in some ways, but the group, the team, has played well, right? That's the difference. The Cavs are playing well, even though Mitchell's not necessarily playing at his peak numbers. So you get a great quote, and this is the number one argument as to why he should be the MVP. This is from Kenny Atkinson yesterday after the Cavaliers win again against the top team in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks, and they play well and win despite Donovan Mitchell not having a great game. Asked about Mitchell being an MVP candidate in that grouping. I hope we will have him in the top rankings. Whatever Atkinson said, if you're looking at Shai's having a great year. Donovan's right there. And this last part is key that Kenny Atkinson is talking about. Just for argument's sake, best player on best team. If you believe he is an MVP, and if you don't and think you want to find a reason or whatnot for Donovan Mitchell, that is your main reason. That Donovan Mitchell is the best player on the best team. It was debated mainly with Steph Curry. That's why Steph Curry won so many, that he was the best player on the best team, right? I remember that being a huge, huge arguing point for Steph Curry because Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, I think even LeBron at certain points, Kevin Durant at certain points, had better numbers than Steph Curry, but the Warriors were rattling off 73-win seasons, and he was the best player on a historic team. Cavaliers are a very, very good team. Historic, you could throw that around. Historic for Cleveland for sure. I don't know about all the debate necessarily within NBA history. But for Mitchell, who's had gigantic games, he's down in minutes played, he's down in points, he's down in assists, and he's down in rebounds compared to the rest of his career. So that's the trade-off. The Cavs are a better team, but Donovan Mitchell doesn't have to play his best for them to be a great team. However, once again, the argument that Kenny Atkinson made is he's the best player on the best team. The Steph Curry argument, as I said. At points LeBron was that, but I think everybody still knew he was the best player in the NBA. Shaq had that title, when he was having some great years and winning some MVPs. But mainly I think it goes back to Steph Curry and kind of that mini little run that Steph Curry had. The other options, the other mix that you want him to be in with, the other guys that we're going to talk about, I think, Shai obviously is the best player, no doubt. That's the other thing. Maybe you could debate for the Cavaliers who's been the best or most important. Shea is absolutely the best and most important for the Oklahoma City Thunder. 30-plus points per game on a team that needs offense desperately. That's the other thing. They need offense, and they die without the limited offense that they have. At his peak, in his peak season at age 26, he's averaging his best. Right? He's shooting his best, scoring his best, to the line most. That's what Shea is to this team. He is the most important player on the best team in the West. Next up, Jason Tatum. Again, high numbers. Matching of years past. Celtics a very, very good team. You can argue maybe he plays a little more defense, just with that size and a little bit of a difference maker. But I kind of cast him aside because automatically the Cavs are better than the Celtics, and we know how much help Jason Tatum has. I will also note with the anti-Jason Tatum arguments, a lot of stats out there that they're better when he's on the bench. Now, I don't always buy those, just that's the NBA. Sometimes you get weird stats, weird situations that everyone knows is not the case. But with Jason Tatum, I do want to note there's plenty of stats and plenty of eye test evidence that the Celtics are better when he's sitting or not doing as much, just because sometimes that's how he plays and it affects the team. The last option, of course, is LeBron James. I know a lot of Cleveland fans, this is mixed for them. I've been really hyped about LeBron this season. Tough to see the groin injury, but 25 points per game, 8 rebounds, 8 assists. And if you look, I know some people might have seen the graphic floating around. This matches what LeBron was doing in 2014 on the Miami Heat in an MVP year, essentially. You can go back to 12, 13. I mean, he's right there at age 40 years old, doing what he was doing back when he was winning MVPs consistently also. Now, first things first. Who in this group for you, what's the ranking? That's what I want to know. That's the big thing. If Donovan Mitchell's not being talked about in the top 3, what's the top 3? If he's not being talked about for number 1, but he's a close second, what is that surrounding area? Is it Shea just because of how many points he's scoring? No doubt about it. It's an impressive 32 points per game. The Thunder are really, really good. They've taken a huge step forward. I think Shea's completely worthy of an MVP. But is it just the scoring, right? Is that the big deal for him? Is the scoring? For Donovan Mitchell, does he get any consideration for being an all-star, for his team just absolutely dominating everyone, for his peak games, for most of his points not just coming at the free throw line? Should that be considered? I think LeBron's out at this point in time. Groin injury, so on and so forth. Tatum's not liked, and I don't think he's all of a sudden just going to shoot to first in the MVP race with 20 games to go. I think right now it goes Shea, Donovan, LeBron, and Tatum. So for the Cavaliers, for Kenny Atkinson, yes, Donovan Mitchell's in that discussion for the MVP. Maybe it took him a while. I'll agree. He was kind of off to the slow, untalked about start, but I think he's in consideration for the MVP. Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Where's Mitchell ranked for you in the MVP race? Should he be considered for one? Is it just not his year to win it, or is that time passed him by? Let us know down in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to Cavs Digest.